From prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know. Now, let's get into the animal news of the day. So, new species of Oviraptorosaur discovered in South Dakota. So, this is exciting to hear, considering they're not too common in South Dakota in general. They tend to be found in areas such as China and Mongolia. So, a team of paleontologists from Oklahoma State University, the University of Toronto, and Royal Ontario Museum has added another species of Caenagnathid Oviraptorosaurian dinosaur to the prehistoric catalog. So the thing is that um, when referring to the Caenathidans or the Oviraptorosaurians, there's the famous Oviraptor, and then there's a wide variety of other species. So the thing is that not every Oviraptorosaurian is an oviraptor, but an oviraptor is a member of the Oviraptorosaurians. But the new species they found is called Eonephron infernalis. Oh, this is a very good picture. An artist's depiction of Eonephron infernalis to the top left. And also, this is referring to the Caenathidid lineage of the Oviraptorosaurians, which are not members of Oviraptoridae. That is a distinct family of Oviraptorosaurians in which the famous Oviraptor belongs to. This specific animal, the Caenathidans, are a distinct group. They also first evolved somewhere around 106 to 110 million years ago during the late early Cretaceous. Anyway, we have Unzu Walleye on the top right. So these are all late Cretaceous Oviraptorosaurians. Far after Oviraptor itself. Oviraptor went extinct somewhere around 72 to 75 million years ago. And then on the bottom left, we have another unnamed Caenathidid. Well, that's unfortunate. Really, it is. It's quite sad. Eonephron infernalis lived in what is now the United States during the late Cretaceous epoch between 68 and 66 million years ago. The fossilized remains of the species were collected from exposures of the Hell Creek Formation, South Dakota. I was going to guess that it would have been the Hell Creek, considering they're mentioning Anzu on the top right, which is known from the Hell Creek Formation. And if it's from the Hell Creek Formation, that means that these animals coexisted with Tyrannosaurus rex. So T Rex is very well known from the Hell Creek Formation. If you know the slight, never mind. The thing is that this animal reached somewhere around 43 feet in length. That's a very long T Rex, and could weigh more than 11 tons. And that's also a large individual. On average, they're probably somewhere around 9.5 to 11 tons. And the thing is that this animal also likely hunted in packs due to the fact that we have found specimens of T Rex, where specifically also a specimen called Y Rex, where it's missing more than half of its tail. I'd say actually somewhere around 65 to 70% of the tail is missing. Yet the bite marks on the tail showed signs of healing. And the only way this would have occurred is if it lived in a family structure, and most likely its mate, and possibly even if it had older children, would have helped take care of it. But the thing is that T Rex would have possibly also younger individuals might have fed on these specific Oviraptorosaurians. Now, in this instance, this is like a somewhat half accurate landscape. I mean, it's a really good looking drawing, but there would have been slightly different species of trees in the region. However, there would have been a wide variety of ferns, different types of floodplains, and you would have had different species of ceratopsians within the area, meaning different species of animals such as Triceratops grosus or Triceratops horridus, two different species of Triceratops. So, here is a replica of a T Rex skull. Now, this specific skull, wait, is this, okay, I forgot. Okay, this is, my bad. This is actually an intact specimen. So, yeah, you can tell by certain teeth are missing. And the thing is that when you're looking at the T Rex skull, you can tell that specifically this right here is the eye socket. So that's where the eye would have been. This right here is the anorbital fenestra. So this is the hole between the nostril and the eye socket, which you can find on every living bird today. And technically, crocodiles and alligators have this distinct characteristic as well as a bottom hole down here called the mandibular fenestra. It's a bit of a question as to what these specific holes, like their like distinct role played within the animal. But besides that, T Rex's teeth could reach over 12 inches or 30 centimeters in length, which that's also if you're including the root and not just the distinct top. So it did have one of the longest teeth of any predatory dinosaur, and definitely the strongest. They didn't have necessarily the sharpest teeth of any theropod dinosaur. They were quite blunt. So their main job was crushing anything that they came into contact with. Whereas earlier species of dinosaurs, as well as even during the time, like different species of dromaeosaurs, but if you go further back, even the allosaurids, they had very knife-like teeth. So they weren't necessarily meant for coming into contact with bone in many cases, and they had to be careful. And yes, T-Rex, it is very possible that this animal could rip off more than, 500 pounds of flesh and swallow it whole. It did not chew its food. It would have been very similar to what you see in how crocodiles or alligators tear off chunks of flesh. Or even if you look at certain birds today, they don't have teeth, so they immediately swallow it, and their digestive juices would have handled the rest. And yes, they could digest bone as well. So T-Rex could be swallowing giant chunks of bone. And here is an impression of what the chick might have looked like. I'd say that this is a bit of an older model, but in reality, would have the skull would have looked much more like just a very narrow, just a thinner version of a adult T Rex skull. Technically, it would look actually quite similar to some earlier relatives of Tyrannosaurus Rex. So let's go back. These sediments resemble those of typical floodplain deposits, such as siltstones with organic material as seen elsewhere in the Hell Creek Formation. When we first examined the bones, we identified them as belonging to a family of dinosaurs known as Caenagnathidi, a group of bird like dinosaurs that had toothless beaks, long legs, and short tails. Direct fossil and inferred evidence indicates these dinosaurs were covered in complex feathers, much like modern birds. And even different closer relatives of the Oviraptorosaurs, like different members of Microraptidae, there are other lineages of the Dromaeosaurs as well, have been preserved with feathers. And it's very possible, I believe, even certain species of Oviraptorosaurs have been found with preserved feathers too. Direct fossil and the only known species of Caenathiid from this time and region was Anzu. Covered in feathers and sporting wings, well, none of the Oviraptorosaurs had the ability to fly. Not even the Microraptorids. Certain Microraptorids could glide, but so like gliding squirrels today, but they couldn't fly. There were, however, a wide variety of different species of avian dinosaurs at this point. There were already different species far into the Cretaceous, I believe, even into a sliver of the Jurassic that um, could fly. I mean, there were birds during this time. Some would make it into the later Cenozoic era, but it's mentioning sporting wings. And Oviraptorosaur did have large, like a somewhat feather, like wing sort of plumage, but couldn't fly. Anyway, and a toothless beak. That's a very common characteristic with different species of Oviraptorosaurs. Let's see, Anzu was between 200 and 340 kilograms. Yeah, it was a much larger species of Oviraptorosaur. Oviraptor itself didn't reach much more than 30 to, um, no, yeah, somewhere around 30 to 40 pounds or 20 kilograms. Is that correct? Something seems a bit large about that specific weight distribution. I'm going to skip that. Despite its fearsome nickname, though, its diet is a matter of debate. It's a big question. With the toothless dinosaurs, it's a very big debate because it's not just the Oviraptorosaurus. You even have it with different species of ornithomimids where they do not have teeth. And it's a big question. And saying that they're an omnivore. Because our specimen was significantly smaller than Anzu, we simply assumed it was a juvenile. We chalked up the anatomical differences we noticed to its juvenile status and smaller size and figured the animal would have changed had it continued to grow. Anzu specimens are rare, and no definite juveniles have been published in the scientific literature. So we were excited to potentially learn more about how it grew and changed throughout its lifetime by looking inside its bones. So let's see. We cut through the middle of three of the bones so that we could microscopically examine the internal anatomy of the cross sections. In a juvenile, we would expect lines of arrested growth in the bone to be widely spaced, indicating rapid growth, with even spacing between the lines from the inside to the outside surface of the bone. Here we saw that the latter lines were spaced progressively closer together, indicating that this animal's growth had slowed and it was nearly at its adult size. This was no juvenile. Instead, it was an adult of an entirely new species, which we dubbed Eonephron infernalis. So, as many as three Caenagnathid species of varying body size may have inhabited the ecosystems of the Hell Creek Formation. But like in other regions, okay, so, let's see, anything else you found about him? Okay, well, a quick also look at the other animals in the region because you also had the Triceratops. And also, something to mention is that this is a real skull right here, too. There have been a wide variety of different specimens of Triceratops have been discovered. I'd say, I think over 200 specimens have been discovered of this animal. And that also includes both species, Groisis, and horridus, with Triceratops horridus being slightly larger. Now, Triceratops could reach somewhere around 30 feet in length, or around 9 meters, and weigh as much as 11 to 14 tons. This was a very large animal and probably the most dangerous land animal to exist. This was something that even a lone T Rex, it's very unlikely could take on its own. A healthy bull T Rex. It's a bit of a question as to whether the males or females are larger, but um, at least we're just going to go with the males. Same with the Triceratops. So it probably would have taken at least three T Rex to take down a Triceratops. Even that's still quite risky. So Triceratops, if you look at the horns alone, they reach somewhere around a little over a meter in length, around 3.3 feet. But there would have been an extra foot of keratin. So the same material that makes up your hair and fingernails, though there are different types of keratin proteins. Um, these could easily gore through a T Rex or another Triceratops individual. Even the armored ankylosaurs in the region would have had to have been careful. But yes, Triceratops is an herbivore. It would have fed on a wide variety of different species of ferns, maybe low lying shrubs or bushes in the region, or fallen down conifer trees. However, Triceratops did prefer the swamps, and as you can tell, it has very wide feet compared to its body size. The problem is, looks like no, they did it right. It looks like they gave all of the five toes claws. In reality, only like the thumb, index, middle finger of Triceratops would have been clawed, and the other two were blunt. It's kind of similar to what you see in modern day crocodiles and alligators. Now, unlike T Rex, Triceratops is very distantly related to birds. But this animal also, what was it? It's not hitting me. Let's keep moving forward. It's very possible that it would have lived in small herds. So there have been instances where Triceratops have been found together, even with juveniles. Just juveniles are not as common to come upon. So then we also have one of the more famous herbivores in the region, Pachycephalosaurus. Now, this right here, this is a very good drawing. It's just that when it comes to accuracy, this is like the representation for the lost Jurassic Park, the Lost World Pachycephalosaur. And for the time, it really wasn't a bad model. But today, the dome shape would have been much flatter. Also, the arms would have been tilted towards each other and not facing the ground. You would have broken its arms at this point. This is a bit more accurate. So as you can tell, there probably would have been a bit more of like horn structure around the distinct dome, but it is a bit shorter. And it's possible there might have been armor around the side, but regardless of that, it's still a really good drawing. And it also looks like Pachycephalosaurus might have been strictly carnivorous and not really, for the most part, have the ability to digest, or let's say at least chew through plant material. This animal was somewhere around 15 feet in length, or what, close to 4.5 meters, and weighed close to what, 6 to 700 pounds. And here is a skeleton of the individual adjacent to a cousin of itself called Draco Rex. And here's a happy ankylosaurus. Now, something I didn't mention earlier is that, here, I'll go back real quick. Not so this Triceratops is a member of the Ceratopsian lineage of dinosaurs. And not every Ceratopsian is a Triceratops, but a Triceratops is a member of the Ceratopsian lineage. Same thing goes for Ankylosaurus itself. Now, these are 9 pictures here of completely different species of Ankylosaur. However, let's see, where is Ankylosaurus here? Is this you? Or is this you? No. Uh, well, here we have animals like Edmontonia, Denversaurus over here. Is this? That's not. This looks closer to Gastonia. This, I believe, is an Asian relative of like Edmontonia or Gastonia, another species of. It's like I think transitional from like Nodosaur to true Ankylosaur. And here, what is this? Possibly Tarkia. I have no idea though who this might be over here. The thing is that let's see. So not every Ankylosaur is an Ankylosaurus, but Ankylosaurus is a member of Ankylosauriae, of which there have been over 30 different species of true Ankylosaur itself, not including the Nodosaurs. And when it comes to ceratopsians, such as Triceratops, there have been over 100 different species of those distinct animals. And with the tyrannosaurs, such as T Rex, because not every tyrannosaur is a T Rex, but T Rex is a member of the Tyrannosaur family. It's like with Pachycephalosaurs. Not every Pachycephalosaur is a Pachycephalosaurus, this distinct animal, but a Pachycephalosaurus is a Pachycephalosaur. And there have only been, when it comes to this family, around 15 to 20 different species, and the Tyrannosaur is about 80. So, let me know in the comments what your favorite species of late Cretaceous dinosaur is. And from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know, because nothing is better than all animals all the time.